All right, Kip. Come up with a pretty good program for you. I feel comfortable with you doing with this unknown knee issue you have that's bothering you. You haven't seen a doctor yet, so want to be kind of conservative in that area and not cause any kind of further problems. So, and we did a squat that we'll include in this program that we did the prior week. It didn't give you any issues, so I'm going to include that. But it's basically a general strength program, and we're going to go in the structure of supersets. So we're going to do an upper body exercise, then go to a lower body exercise, take a break, go back to the first exercise, then the second exercise, take a break, and then finish the third set with the upper body exercise and the lower body exercise. So our first two exercises are going to be push-ups and this what I'm going to call technical squat that kind of takes your knees out of it and incorporates more hip range of motion to help you facilitate the range of motion that you need in a squat in order to continue to preserve those knees. So with your push-ups, we've been doing elevated push-ups. I feel good about you finding any kind of like bench and turning it horizontal. I'm going to use this sofa here. And really what I did was I came up with 2 to 3 main points for each exercise. I'm going to re-emphasize those while I do them and just go through the routine. So the first one with push-ups, we're a little bit elevated to keep the form and mainly draw in the belly and squeeze the glutes. Squeezing the glutes is a really often repeated phrase, but that just lets you know that your hips are in full extension. It just kind of takes the guesswork out of it. So with here, I'm just going to use my sofa, and I'm going to push through the heel of my palm and keep my shoulders down and breathe out, pushing away. I'm going to try for 12 reps right there, at least 8. Now, a word on those rep ranges there, the 8 to 12, that's called strength hypertrophy. And you're building some strength and you're also building some tone. And I like to keep people there. You get above 12, you start to get in that strength endurance, which isn't bad, but it's not as much strength building. All right, so with our push up, again, we're going to try for 8 to 12. And we're going to suck in. All right, now, followed by the technical squats. Really, what you're doing there is just you're finding an impediment for your knees so they don't travel past the toes from a side perspective. So I'm going to try to walk up to something that forms a 90-degree angle, wall and floor, to impede the progress of my knees so they don't go out past the toes. A lot of times they'll make me want to fall back. So what you can do is find a structure that allows your hands to come forward to kind of counterbalance your hips going back. Take a wide stance here and sit back on the heels as you go down. Keep the chest forward. And, stop the depth if you feel like your knee is getting too aggravated, but you don't want to even have to encounter that at all. So, be real conservative with those. The main thing is that you keep your knee healthy. 8 to 12, I think we did those the other day, and you said they were fine. So, and what I saw looked good. You're going to do 8 to 12 push-ups, then do 8 to 12 of those technical squats. And then, if you feel like you can do the push-ups again, the 8 to 12, go right back into it. Don't break just because you have to. So you're going to do push-ups, squats, push-ups, squats, push-ups, squats. And then you're going to go to another superset, another upper body, lower body combo. And this one's going to be going to use a dumbbell and a Swiss ball. And the weight we've been using on what I'll call the shortstop row has been around 25, 30 pounds. So then you're going to support yourself on this outstretched arm on the knee. Okay, and you're going to want to keep that armpit area on your supporting arm real compressed. You want to pack it, as they say. And you really want to fully support yourself on that arm. You know, use your skeletal structure to really do the heavy lifting. You don't want to use any kind of your arms right there. You don't want to like do that. You know, go ahead, do that right there. Block it out. And that way you don't have to use any of your, because you're trying to isolate this muscle here. Keep the shoulder down on your rowing arm. You don't want it up here. Keep it down and breathe out. I'm going to try to keep my shoulders from rotating. You know, you don't want to do that. And conversely, you don't want to do that. So keep them here. Knock out 8 to 12 there. Now, there's your variables real easy. Just wait. If 12 is too easy, look to go up by about 5 pounds. If 8 is too hard, you feel like you're using some momentum to have to do that, then go down and wait. Yeah, if 12 is too easy, go up. All right, so we're going to pair that up with Swiss ball bridges. And here, you're looking to aim to get as much of the sole of your feet up toward the top of the Swiss ball. And then the force vector is going to kind of do this right here. As the hips come up, you're going to be able to put more down leverage, you know, more downward force, completely downward. Or at the outset, it might be a little bit more diagonally down, forward and down. So as your hips come up, you'll be able to, and you want to hollow out your stomach here. And again, 8 to 12. Rest your head, press against the floor. Knock out 12 of those, you know, at least 8, and then back to the rows, 8 to 12 each side, back to the bridges, you know, rest, then finish your third set. You want to do 3 sets of each exercise in that superset. The third superset is going to focus on your core. And the first one is going to be the Swiss ball plank. And, you know, you can use a timer here. You want to try to get to 30 seconds. But sometimes I like to count breath cycles. Breathe in, breathe out. Kind of has a meditative aspect to it. But you're going to hollow out your stomach, squeeze the glutes, the familiar refrain. And you're here. Breath cycles. Now, if you get to 8, you're really close. 8 to 10 breath cycles, there's going to be 30 seconds. Or you can use a timer. But that'll be the start of your third superset. And you're going to pair that one up with a banded exercise. And I've forgotten my band. I had everything else planned. But, and we're dealing with some lighting issues here. But basically, what you're doing is, I'll use this TheraBand. I usually like to go about bottom of the sternum height. And really the main criteria here is that you keep your arm. The thing broke on me. You're going to keep your arms outstretched and you're going to step out one step each foot outside, leading with your outside foot, one, and then back in. Obviously, the farther away you go, the more intense it is, so it's going to be a kind of pulsing kind of mechanism here. We're going to kind of probably get into a time here, a timing kind of component. You're going to aim for 15 there, and then pair that up with your Swiss ball plank. So 15 each side, 12 to 15 there. We go a little bit higher on core just because it's more slow twitch endurance type muscle fiber, and it responds better to that. But that's your program in a nutshell. I'll be meeting with you today and go over the finer points. All right.